Hello, my name is Travis Grady, and here is the essay questions for the final exam or exam 3. For number 1, I stated the offer and acceptance of the time travel contract was if either of them invented time travel, they both agreed to first come back to the time they made the contract in precisely 5 seconds. This is, however, no There is, however, no consideration in this contract as Sheldon and Leonard never exchanged what each party would get in return for the completion of the duties or for the completion of time travel. Both Sheldon and Leonard had the capacity to enter into this contract as they were both sober and intelligent to understand the contract. Because there is no consideration or compensation, this contract is sadly illegitimate because all components in a contract must be met in order for it to be legitimate. For question number 2, I stated, these feelings are justified because they are two of the biggest cell phone companies, and if they were to merge, they'll own majority of the cell phone service industry and start creating new prices and services, or they'll start price gouging. Based on my knowledge of monopolies, this would be in violation of the Clayton Act of 1914 because of the new company merged two of the leading cell phone companies to form one big company. For example, is in 2001, Heinz offered to purchase BeechNut so they would become one company. The problem and reason they weren't allowed to do this because Heinz and BeechNut was two of the three major producers of baby food. So the merger would create a monopoly, just like if Verizon and AT&T would merge. For question 3, I stated a union election can occur when employees approach a union representative and they have a meeting. The next step, then the union rep would go contact the employer to have another meeting about it. The next step would be a petition phase, and that occurs when at least 30%, most of the time, companies won't move forward unless it's 50% of the authorization cards are filled out. When it hits a certain percentage, the election phase occurs where the campaigning and the election takes place. After that whole process comes the certification phase where it is the result of the election. During this time, there are things that the managers can't do, which is spy, promise, interrogate, threaten, and can't meet with employees within 24 hours of the election because it could cause major problems. If the managers break any of this, the election process would be voided to deter unionization during the campaign. You can talk to the employees to find out the issues, but you could talk to them before 24 hours ahead of time to find out the issues and reasoning on why they want to unionize and find a solution like changing the work environment, and which doesn't involve just giving everyone a raise because it would be messing up your budget and stuff. For number 4, I stated, I don't believe Ohio State will be successfully able to trademark the word the because the word the is not distinctive to Ohio State as it is used to describe things. Also, the word the doesn't indicate Ohio State as a good or service, but as a place. Also, the word the is a generic word and it can't be federally protected. And then I personally don't think there is any way possible for Ohio State to trademark the word the. For number 5 and the last question, I stated, I believe he won't have any concerns with any of the questions as Julia brought up all the information in which Michael was able to ask questions in a legal manner. For the first question, how did Penn State do in football during your senior year? Michael is able to ask that question as he isn't asking for her age directly, but with that question, he will get a rough estimate to her age, as generally college grads are 21 to 23 years old, but not limited to that age group, as there's people who don't attend college right after high school, and it doesn't matter. Graduating college doesn't mean that you're 21 to 23. For the second question, Julia brought up her family, so Michael was able to ask about her family and what they do with their free time on a Sunday, specifically about their time spent watching the football, the NFL games, or anything to do with the NFL. And she was also interviewing for a position in a football or an NFL organization. It's the same thing. Once she brought up the information, Michael was able to ask. The third question is similar to the second one, as Julia stated that her grandparents immigrated in the early 1900s, so the question would be fair game to see where her grandparents were originally from, because she brought up the information, so he's not would be now allowed to ask that question. I don't see why Howie would have a concern about the questions brought up, as Julia allowed Michael into her life by bringing up this information when she didn't have to, which covers Michael from any legal action against the Eagles for any questions asked in the interview. She brought up all the information, so legally now he can ask questions about it, but if she didn't bring up any of the information, then he wouldn't have been able to ask any of these questions. So that was the main reasoning on why I don't think there should be any legal action or legal repercussions for the Eagles during this interview. And then that's going to conclude the essay questions. Thanks.